Well, we're back.
Welcome back. Yeah, so I guess you've been having some fun over on your channel.
You could say that. Yeah, you could say that. I don't want to get into too much detail because of this. I don't want to get into too many specifics, but life of a content creator. I don't like saying the word YouTuber because I've always felt like that word is just so cliche.
Yeah.
So Aaron, what are we doing today?
Yeah, so I figured that this would probably be the next best route to go down, is show you kind of some of their music videos that probably has the most like sound and maybe flashy cinematography that they've had. This video is actually really cool. Like, I really like this video in terms of like looks and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. The other thing I would say too is that this is probably one of their, I feel like this is one of their bigger songs personally. I feel like that a lot of people talk about this song a lot. It's called Fake Love. And
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. Very straightforward.
Oh, I'm excited because honestly, I've really grown to like BTS.
Yeah, they're good.
Let me get it full screen for us.
Yeah. Make sure you turn on the captions too. Boink.
And let me just check the caption settings.
Oh yes, subtitles.
Opciones. Okay, it's at 100%. So
perfect. Boink. Boink.
All right, let's do this. I'm intrigued.
As you can tell, it's a bit of a longer song.
Yeah.
사랑이 사랑만이 너무 완벽하게 내 모든 내 잠들은 다 숨겨지게 이루어지지 않는 꿈 속에서 피할 수 없는 꽃을 키웠어. I'm so sick of this, fake love.
Oh, that's cool,
right?
Fake love. I'm so sorry, but it's fake love. Fake love. Fake love. I wanna be a gold just for you. 세상을 줘. Just for you. 전부 바꿔서. Just for you. 나를 너무. Who are you? Hey, 우리 안에 두. 너는 없어. 내가 얻은 두. 잊어버렸어. 나도 내가 누구였는지도 잘 모르게 돼. 거울에다 뒤걸려봐. 너는 대체 누구래? 위에서라면 난 수도도 깊은 척할 수가 있었어.
That was a good shot right there.
Right?
Transition. Wow. That's cool. So cool.
I don't know, I'm on fly. 웃어봐, 사랑해, 말해봐. 나를 봐, 나조차도 버리나. 너조차 이해할 수 없는 나. 약속을 하는 네가 좋아하던 나를 변한 내가. 아니라 하는 예전에 네가 잘 알고 있던 내가. 하는 게 뭐가? 난 멀었어. 사랑은 너가 살아. It's something love.
A lot of candy, holy cow.
Some Snickers.
나도 날 모르겠어. I just know why. Cause it's a fake love, fake love, fake love.
I see what they did there. They made it sound look like it was almost like it was done.
Yeah, right. Sneaky, sneaky.
I think you underestimate my sneakiness. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Wow. Whoa. I really like this a lot.
It's cool, huh?
Really cool.
사랑이 사랑만으로 완벽하게 내 모든 약점들은 다 숨겨지기에 이루어지지 않는 꿈속에서 피울 수 없는 꽃을 키워왔어.
I love the silhouetting.
Oh yeah, it's so cool.
Wow.
You
That
know, and
was-
like I think for me personally, that's one of the coolest things about that is the silhouetting thing because like you can see like all the arms and like the detail of like the arms and hands like grabbing each other, but yet there's like no detail to the members, which I think is actually pretty crazy.
You know, there's something that I really like about that as well, and I noticed this. You know, knowing their backstory now that these guys are they're brothers basically,
Yeah,
knowing that they had that much respect for each other, it just makes that silhouetting moves, those silhouetting moves, like that much more like surreal.
yeah,
And you know, there's so much I loved about that. I love from a videographer's or cinematographer's point of view. I loved when you saw the water come down. All of a sudden, they switches to fire, and I think that was really cool.
yeah,
Because people don't realize there's a lot that goes into that. Like you only get so many tries to get it like spot on.
yeah, for sure.
That's why sometimes like in like big name movies, like they take a long time to film because they have incidents or they have like something that doesn't go right. And so that's just cool.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing is just kind of like the context of the lyrics that match with the video itself. Cause like I think a lot of it kind of shows like the world kind of falling apart after, you know, somebody breaks up or, you know, anything like that. And I think that's kind of what's really cool because like you hear the whole part where he's talking about like how it's like fake love, and he talks about how like they tried to grow a flower that wasn't allowed to bloom, like all these little small little things, and like you can kind of see that it like matches with the stuff like at the very beginning. You know, the whole room kind of explodes around him, or then he says like, "I don't know who I am," and like has all this stuff that he was like kind of, you know, had done as like hobbies and interests and stuff like that maybe he had prior or like during the relationship that he's kind of like doesn't know if that's really what he likes or really what he wants. And I think that it's just really cool how they paired up a lot of that stuff because then like fire and water, two things that do separate things but both can be destructive but also helpful. Like it's a really interesting mix.
You know what? There's one thing I really liked about that, and I love the fact that like you saw their emotion about like, you know, because let's face facts, like everyone goes through like breakups. They go through like times where like maybe you're pursuing like someone that you have a crush on, and maybe they don't feel the same way. Like here, I'll give you a little quick example. That girl that you and I both know that you kept telling me like, Tony, like she's crazy. Like don't do this.
Yeah.
The first time when she rejected me, I remember going to work the next day, and I kid you not, every song was about breaking up, and it was like when you're waking up with a broken heart, dreaming. I was like, seriously, like this is like the worst time for these songs to come on. I was just like, what the heck, like. But no, in truth though, like, yeah, there's a lot that goes into this, like, I just in the lyrics, because like, lyrics are not, you and I, we both know lyrics are not easy to write. They're not.
For sure.
Like, you have to make sure that you use the right word usage, and there's a lot to go with that. But like, even from like a videographer's perspective, like some people may think like, oh, they're just filming a music video. They can probably film that in like an hour. No.
Yeah.
This takes days and weeks.
For sure.
Like there's a music video for famous group Linkin Park. When they had their Shadow of the Day music video album debut, it took them like a month to record that.
Oh yeah.
And like when you go and you watch the video, you can see why it took them so long. Because like I remember seeing a behind the scenes look from the backup singer when he was saying like, he was showing how they were filming it, and it made me excited for when I was like, oh man, the music video's come, because like I'd been waiting for that music video for a long time.
Yeah.
And so when it finally dropped on YouTube, I was like, I gotta go watch this right now. I gotta
right.
Watch this
now. And I think that's kind of funny too, because like it also really depends like on what you're doing with as terms of the concept of the video, which I think is also another thing, because a lot of times one thing that I feel like that isn't discussed is like storyboarding, where like you decide like what you're going to do in the video in general, and then like how many times you're gonna have to go through and redo that. There's a group, I don't know if you know them, it's the OK Go.
Yeah.
And they are known for having the most elaborate music videos in music. They have the one that's called The One Moment, and like literally it just looks like chaos. But then like when it slows down and goes back to the beginning, it covers the entire music video with all the lyrics and all the lip syncing, like everything. And I kind of feel like that's kind of what they have here, is like there's a lot that just kind of like happens, and it's all connected to the one concept of destruction.
Yeah, no, it's really true. And I think that there's, you touched on something that's very important, and that's storyboarding. As a videographer, and it's just someone who loves to record videos, I always try to come up with a battle plan. Like, and like I need to start doing it more on a physical storyboards, but like I do like a mental storyboard, or like how I can picture it. I can envision it in my mind, like how it's gonna go. And I mean, you've been in some of these videos where I've done these kind of things, and sometimes I have to, redo it. I have to redo the shot. And
for sure.
It's not fun. It takes more time. But when you have clear, what?
It's part of the gig, though.
Exactly. Like when you have that clear idea in your mind, or like on a written storyboard, which I'm going to start doing more of, you want to get it down to that pristine, concise way you want it to be, if that makes sense. And I think about so many different things in that respect. Like, I mean, because there's a lot that goes into music videos. There's, because with storyboarding, there has to be a story behind the music video. You know, IU, Love Always Wins. Great example. It had that Last of Us feeling.
It did,
but they put their own twist on it. And honestly, it probably wasn't easy to write. It probably
not.
But you see the end result. You reacted to it. I reacted to it.
Yeah.
And it just turned out to be such a phenomenal music video.
Yeah, and honestly, that's probably like one of the best songs in K-pop.
It really is.
It's so good.
One thing about this, I love. This is going to take me back a little bit. It's going to take us back to like 2007. But there's one thing I want to bring up real quickly. It's like right here at the very beginning. One of them, they're wearing a shirt, like a jacket that reminds me of "Welcome to the Black Parade" from My Chemical Romance.
Yeah, you're all the way back at the beginning.
And I mean, it was just, yeah, you see that right there. It looks like
a little bit, huh?
Yeah, it does. Like when I saw it, I'm like, that looks like the
My
kind
Chem-
of get up that, you know, My Chemical Romance does with
Oh yeah,
Welcome to Black Parade, which is another great song.
yeah.
It also had a lot of storyboarding to do.
Oh my goodness, for real.
And you know, the one thing that I've always enjoyed about like music videos and just this kind of stuff in general is that like there's a planning process.
Hmm.
You know, you on your channel, you have to plan out your stuff. I plan out my stuff,
Yeah,
and we can both testify to the fact that planning is not easy, but if you plan it just right,
yeah.
it'll
It's
just be a masterpiece.
It's true. I mean, there's a lot that's been kind of coming up here on the channel that I've been teasing for a little bit now, and it's taken a lot of planning, and it takes a lot of storyboarding, and yeah, it's not something that you should skip either, though. It's too important.
And you know, there's something that I kind of teased a little bit in one of my community posts. People have noticed that I've been losing some weight. My face is a lot thinner. I won't give away too much, but the only thing I will say is that back in June, like the end of like mid to end of June, I went to a doctor's appointment to get a refill prescription going on some medicine I take on a daily basis. And the medical assistant was like, "Hey, we just need to draw some blood." I was like, "That's fine." Like, I mean, I don't like needles. I don't
Yeah,
know many
who
people
does,
like
right?
needles. I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And so I remember coming home from that just really frustrated because it was around that time that I had just gotten my hours cut at my wholesale job.
Yeah,
And so I was really frustrated about everything with that. But then about a week, well, no, about 3 or 4 days later, I get a phone call. I was actually in the restroom, and it was the medical assistant. She said, the doctor was very concerned. Your cholesterol is very high and all this other stuff. And so it really scared me.
yeah,
And so I went on a health journey. So there's going to be a series coming out about my health journey and how it hasn't been easy losing weight. Like, you know, doing these old, you know, changing these old habits. And like, I show how technology has impacted that.
yeah,
You know,
for sure.
for good and for bad.
Hmm.
I'm excited for people to see that because this is something that's very near and dear to my heart because looking in my ancestry, like even on like ancestry.com, like I've seen photos of like some of people from like my dad's side, and a lot of the men, they're very big.
Hmm.
Like they had guts, they had, you know, the double chins and everything. And I didn't want that.
Yeah,
It really kind of, it scared me. And I've seen photos of my grandpa Hill, my mom's dad, and how, so at the end of his life, he had diabetes and he really gained a lot of weight because of his diabetes. And so
yeah,
this journey is all about me getting my weight and my health under control and how technology again is helping me and how it may even hinder me. So stay tuned for that, everyone. So what are your thoughts on what are your final thoughts on this, Aaron?
I think for me the interesting thing is that it's I think the most interesting piece about this entire song for me personally is that it's the connection of how sometimes one side of the partnership in a relationship demands that the person on the other side not be themselves. Because there's even a spot in there that I really, really like that in RM, he says, where he's like, I tried to give you the world. I tried to be that person. I tried to be that man. And then, you know, it kind of goes on to show like all the stuff that he had to do to, you know, help in the relationship and basically be someone else completely different. And, you know, I think that's actually been kind of like one of the telltale signs for me personally, like in most of the relationships that I've had, where that's when I notice that the relationship starts to kind of swing in the direction of it's going to end, because after a while it's like I can't even be me. I can't do any of the things I like. I can't even think the things that I like. And I think that that's one of the most important parts about the song is just realizing your own worth, because what you have to offer is you yourself, and that's, you know, enough. And people try to change that a lot of times in relationships.
You know, I'm going to bring up a few things, and you kind of you sparked this memory on one of them. So back when I was in that singles congregation, I've mentioned it on this channel before. There was a girl that I was really actively pursuing, and then one of my friends, his girlfriend, she pulled me aside one night when I think we were all playing basketball, and I wasn't really playing. I was just sitting there talking. And she said to me, she's like, Tony, she's like, you need to think of this as one of those like those weight scales, like, and he's like, if you're putting all the effort in, like right here, and if she's up here, it's not going to work out because you're putting in more effort than she is, you know, and vice versa. If it's, and I think that's too often that's what happens, you know, especially and I hate to say it, but like especially like when you're in your teen to early 20s, like that's what a lot of people do. And I've seen people who've had to change themselves. Like actually, I've seen this in good friends. I've seen this in family who've changed themselves to be with someone, and they weren't happy in the end. And you could just see like when the relationship ended, they were sad and depressed, but you could also see like a weight or a burden was lifted so they could go back to being the real them. And the other thing I wanted to bring was I wanted to go back to this because there's something that I really liked. It was a cinematography. I loved this right here. This was cool. That was so cool. I love that. Because that's a, you know, just again, like we said earlier, you only get so many shots at that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to bring up real quick is, well, the two other things I want to bring up. I love how they make it sound like it's ending.
Yes. The false ending.
Yeah. And you can see him just trying to pick up the pieces. I love that right there.
Yeah. It's actually really well shot, this music video.
Is. And I love how it just slowly brings it back. Like, this is one of the coolest cinematography shots I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, this positions are just phenomenal. But honestly,
what a shot!
Huh?
What a place to pause,
right? But really, I love this a lot, and I hope that people who watch this will enjoy our feedback on it. And I think we're going to continue to do this. This is, you know, me and Aaron, we've been friends for over 20 years now, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, I can't believe that.
We're kind of old now, I feel like.
We're old. We're very old.
But yeah, final things you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a lot to cover with BTS still, for sure. And I mean, this isn't something that I've really said, but like to you personally, but like I know that BTS has like 400, 500 songs that we haven't like we barely when I say we barely scratched the surface, I mean it. Because not only, and in fact, I was actually just thinking about this, like there's even stuff that they've done outside the group where it's just like their solo music that has some really, really crazy things. Like J-Hope, he has this video where they only use practical effects, and the whole thing is like in regards with fire, and it's super crazy. And I was like, oh man, we might need to cover that song here soon too, because there's a lot to cover for us. So
I'm excited for that. I hope everyone else is excited. And Aaron, you want to send us off with my famous saying?
For sure. We'll see you all in the next video. Have a good one.